Hello, Latin 2 families. From time to time throughout Latin 1, I'll record a video anticipating maybe some difficulties with a new concept. And so in Latin 2, or Lesson 2, excuse me, we have our first verb and verb chant. And so I hope this kind of helps any kind of issues. Let me first just cover derivatives. Last week you did your first lesson of derivatives, and I know it's kind of a struggle to get the brain thinking of that. So a derivative is just simply an English word that's derived from a Latin word. Maybe your students told you that 50% of English words are derivatives of Latin. Latin is the mother tongue of the West. All Western languages, European, American languages come from Latin. And so that means a lot of our words are derived directly from them. So this week, one other thing about derivatives, an English derivative of a Latin word needs to be associated with the Latin word in the schola, and a derivative would be like school or maybe scholar. And so it's spelled somewhat similarly. Second, it has to have a similar meaning. Now, it doesn't have to have the precise exact meaning of the Latin word, but just related in some way to the Latin word. So you have to be a little bit creative with derivatives. It's a way to get your students' brain thinking, and it's really a very important part of learning a new language, is to make connections in your brain between your language and the language you're learning. And so it's going to take some time, be a little bit of a struggle. Try not to give them the words themselves. You can maybe give them hints. You can Google things, but it's good for them to, let their mind make that pathway. And if you give them the words or you go immediately to Google, their mind is not going to be able to do that. That's a danger of a teacher's face. It's a temptation. You just want to get through the pain and give the student the answer, but then it's cutting short their thought process. Or if you go to technology, your brain actually has pathways, and students will need to form them. They'll get better at it. So they're practicing. So encourage them in that. Coach them in it. Okay, if you look at pages 8 and 9 of your Latin storybook Latin book, you will see right at the top being or linking verb. So in the English language, we might use a sentence, you are short. Are is a verb. It's not an action, but it's a linking verb or a being verb. You could say, when we say we are humans, it's telling us what we are, what our state of being is. It can also just link things together. And so this is our verb that we sometimes would say, like is or are or am. I am tall. And so this is not an action verb, but it just shows the state of being or links the subject to something describing the subject of the verb. Okay, chants. Kids can memorize these with song, with chants. And so we're going to have a chant, sum est, sumus est sunt. So first person, second person, third person, singular and plural. Latin is a language that indicates the person, if we're talking about first person, second person, third person, or is it singular or plural, differently than English. So where English, the word is can be used in first, second, third. Well, actually, it's only going to be used in third person. He is. Where the term are, we are, you are, they are, could be first, second, third. We don't differentiate. In Latin, they do. Could be helpful. Makes it a bit easier. And so first person is when you're talking about yourself, I am. Second person, when you're talking about another person, you are, singular or plural. Third person is talking about somebody else. maybe you have 3 people there, you, and you're talking to that person about that person, he, she, or it, or they. So first person singular of this verb is sum, I am. And the way that we memorize it is you have 2 columns, singular and plural, and 3, what's the word there? Can't think of it. Across for first person, second person, so the third person. In the chants, we move down the singular from first, second, third, and then we move over to the top of the plural and go first, second, third there. So sum est, sumus est sunt. Sum est, sumus est sunt. Okay, we won't use it this week, but if you look, you're going to have very important pages coming up. If you look in the back of your Latin book, beginning at page 239, on 239, don't worry about this now, I'm just introducing it to you. These are all the noun endings. We'll be getting to this in coming weeks. But if you flip over to the next page, 241, you see the verbs. All of these will be turned into its own chants. This will help your student memorize the various noun types and endings and verb types and endings. So this week you're being introduced to it, the being linking verb chant. Sum est, sumus est sunt. So we'll learn that in Tuesday in class. Monday we don't have class because of Labor Day. And then at home, your student will be memorizing these chants and repeating them throughout the year. One of the keys in Latin is to constantly be reviewing vocab that you've memorized, both from the lesson you're on and on the previous lessons, and to review these chants. It'll make life a lot easier, and so you don't have to wait until like you have a bigger test and review it all. But if you just keep up on it, and so every week have them review the past week's vocab cards, the memory cards, and the chants. So again, you're learning the first chant this week. Let me say it again. Sum est, sumus est sunt. And so you can hear it kind of rhyme, and hopefully that'll be helpful to you. All right, if you have any questions, feel free to contact me, email me, call me, text me, whatever would be helpful to you. But hopefully this is somewhat helpful. Thanks. Have a good day. Bye.